Emmanuel Mock joins us now to shed some light on this whole security matter. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, yes, indeed. I haven't seen that rally, that meeting, West African leaders. Yes, one will always be optimistic about all of those, but when it comes down to brass tacks, people expect to see an immediate reaction, to see troops deployed, to see some action, some concrete information, ultimately to bring back the girls. But it's not going to be that fast, is it, you think?
I don't think it can be that fast, because deploying troops, from what I imagine, would take some effective planning to make sure that when your troops are out there, they're properly protected and provided for. But I expect in not more than a week, all of that should be done. And this thing has been going on for quite some time, so I don't expect a country like Cameroon or Chad or Niger to say that nothing has been put in place at all up till this time, because these people have been going across the borders over a period of almost 2 years now. There was a time when we had villagers reporting that some girls or some people were moved on boats across Lake Chad. There was a report of something like that. So I expect that these countries already have some kind of security measures in place. Maybe they are going to now step it up more like what Nigeria has, because Cameroon reported in the papers yesterday that they've declared war, meaning that they are stepping up their security response measures to the same state as Nigeria's. So let's see how it goes. That's what I think.
Yeah, but having seen all of those and the comments coming through from a lot of people in terms of how we responded, and something the discussion now should be, what should we be doing to bring back the girls? What have you seen, and what can you tell us from what you've seen so far?
Like the Minister of Information was saying on your program just now, sincerely, I think the focus should be more now on intelligence gathering and community participation, because definitely Boko Haram is a kind of guerrilla group, and guerrilla groups cannot face the kind of military might that's been put together against them. So definitely you find them there. What I see them about to do is to play down their roles, maybe cool it down, spread themselves out. This is the time for, one of the things I think we should do, one of the most important things I believe we must do, the IG's policy of no roadblocks. I believe that policy is helping Boko Haram.
How?
Because, you see, when they say that the arms are coming in from Chad, from Cameroon, from all of these places, I do not believe. You see, the country that has the effective infrastructure to move arms at the scale that Boko Haram is releasing arms is only Nigeria. You have major ports in Nigeria: Warri Port, Onne Port, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Apapa and Tinkan. There are no roadblocks. There was a day I had a conference in Calabar, yes. I decided to go to Asaba from Calabar, and there was no flight, so I had to go by road. From Asaba, I came to Lagos by road. From Calabar to Lagos by road, trailers, lorries loaded with all kinds of things, not one checkpoint. The only checkpoint that stopped us was a checkpoint somewhere at, is it Korekpene or somewhere? It's in front of a military barracks, and there were soldiers. So you can imagine in a situation like this. And then you hear of the fact that Boko Haram has this personnel, whatever, this military, whatever. Now, you can have containers that would have that, and it would drive from Lagos port here all the way to Borno. No checkpoints anywhere.
Yeah, but he didn't say no checkpoints. If he says no roadblock, he didn't say they shouldn't stop and check.
You see,
so it's how they...
We recall they changed it to motorized patrols, which...
Yes, but if you live in Lagos and you've seen how their patrols work, they just park their vehicles by the side of the road. And most of the time, we are almost in a state of war. And like I'm telling you, with the amount of military and security system put in place against Boko Haram in the Northeast today, I can bet you. You think about it. If you are
you want them to be physically present, looking into the cars?
No. See, it doesn't have to be on all streets, but there are strategic roads in the country. The police you should not have a fully laden lorry. You remember the army in Sokoto found a tanker with arms inside the fuel tanker. Now, for people to think like that, we are at a place where Boko Haram is dispersing itself. Remember, they threatened. They threatened in Abuja that we are everywhere. Now they are threatening that they are going to begin to attack schools. There's something that's not in the Northeast anymore, across the country. That's telling you that these people have dispersed themselves. They cannot face the army.
Okay, but if you're saying that yes, they should come back and in strategic points.
Yes.
Remember that if you have a tailback of vehicles, that's a soft target as well. Shouldn't we be challenging our security agencies to raise
immediately after, I just came up from Abuja, and there's been a lot of traffic around Yanya now because of the checkpoints there. Now, I believe when we have a problem, we should solve it. You need to check vehicles. In Abuja, you need to check vehicles. You remember the army 2 years ago coming into Abuja arrested a lorry full of bombs. Then later it was explained that those bombs were being used for mining. But such vehicles should not move like that anymore. You should be able to, and there was a time also in Kano, they discovered a warehouse where they say 20 drums of bomb-making chemicals. That was about a year and a half ago. How did those drums get to that place? We are in a state of war, and we are dealing with faceless people.
When you encourage, I'm sorry, when you talk about these roadblocks, are you not encouraging soft targets? You just talked about Yanya. That's like a soft target.
No, if you look at even the major countries in the world where insurgency is a major issue, take like Iraq. When the Americans were there, one of the things that protected the citizens was the fact that there were roadblocks. It helped to stop the freedom with which these people moved. Now, what we have, you can imagine the vehicle that caused the Yanya bomb blast. They rigged it somewhere, drove the vehicle through the streets of Abuja and parked it by Yanya Park. We hear it was parked overnight there. Nobody checked it. Remember the bomb blast in Kano in the bus stop? Somebody carrying bombs drove to the park and put it inside the luggage compartment of the bus, and it exploded and killed everybody. So what I'm basically saying, at this point in time, so much effort is on ground now. So much. Everybody is here. The Americans, the Israelis, the Chinese, the French, the British are here. Boko Haram cannot face that. So they would slow down their major activities and disperse themselves within the population.
And that's that's where intelligence gathering comes in. Because
yes.
If they can actually get in and, people really can't afford to be stopping every vehicle on the road for a stop.
I'm not saying every vehicle. I'm not saying every vehicle. You see, there is the issue. Take like the Boston bomb blast. The Americans had these CCTV cameras installed. The ones we have here are not working. These are the things that must work. You need roadblocks. You need those CCTVs installed. Then you need, especially like we have, we used to have these toll gates across the country. I believe at the points of all of those toll gates, there should be major checkpoints today. Because if you are crossing the country south to north, you must pass those toll gate points.
With devices installed that can actually detect explosives.
Devices should be installed, but we don't have the time immediately to install those kind of devices. They are not things you can do overnight, and you can't wait. At this point in time, the best thing we can do is say like a toll gate point at the one we have at Shagamu here. You can have like 15 or 20 different three-man groups, so that when cars come, you can check them 15 per time, so that you don't build up cars. But then that way, it will not be easy for them to move the kind of arms they are moving.
Clearly there has to be short-term and long-term strategy to all of this.
Yes.
Part of what we've raised consistently here is database. How do states plan? How can a country plan without database? Even all these countries that are coming together, they will need data. If one person is arrested today, if somebody is being sought after, you need data of the person.
Yeah.
And we spend so much, we understand, trying to develop database here, but who can tell us categorically and authoritatively at that we've got a database in this country of every Nigerian or every citizen of this country?
In fact, that's another story altogether. I was reading recently that the government is more or less duplicating efforts on several levels, road safety, INEC, National Identification Agency, all kinds of data, and they've not been able to synchronize this. If you remember when INEC, before 2011 elections, were registering people, we thought the data they were collecting was going to be used to create a national database. When the national identity card thing, the same thing was done. It's unfortunate that we're where we are, but we now have a very serious security problem on our hands. And sincerely, the ways of tackling it are the issues for me. Okay. These things should be dealt with. They are not so difficult. We have so much data already. The banks have so much data. The GSM companies have so much data.